What is up, everybody? Welcome to the effing podcast. We are back, season 2. It is 2024, and we cannot be more excited to have cars back on the grid. Today, Bo and I are breaking down everything that happened in the offseason because it was a crazy offseason. We're talking about 2024 predictions and why you should tune in this season and all the crazy antics that are going to happen. And then we're talking about Bahrain for a split second. All right, we're back. Let's do this.
I feel like we're on a first date.
This is kind of weird, Bo.
Yeah, doesn't it? It feels like you and I dated, and then we took a break for a little while.
Yeah, and then
we're back at the table.
And then we re-met at a bar somewhere, and I was like, "Oh, is that my old fling?"
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, my twin flame, as one might say.
And then you ditch your current date, and they're like, "What the fuck just happened?" You know.
This is well, we're back. Welcome back to two American white dudes talk about European race car drivers.
That's what this is.
That's exactly what this is. So welcome back. We're excited to be here. Season 2.
Yeah.
We've had some personal changes since season 1. You want to rip through those really quick?
Yeah, I got really big into RuneScape this offseason.
Oh, yeah. Well, we discovered that we were both really into RuneScape and not old school RuneScape. Sorry, let me specify.
Yeah.
Without knowing that the other was also very into
the only good one. That's kind of what kept me alive during this offseason. It was, this offseason felt super quick. I don't know about you, but all of a sudden we had the last race in Abu Dhabi, and you snap your fingers, and here we are. Boom. New season. Dude, F1 doesn't end. The offseason, it's literally a week is what it feels like.
I know. It's funny, not to get into Drive to Survive because we'll do that at a totally different episode, but when you do see those guys enjoying their break, quote unquote, it's basically it's like what your winter break was in college, essentially.
Yeah.
Where it's 2 weeks at home doing whatever and then straight back into it.
Yes.
That's their life always.
Well, I feel like the summer break was longer than this
It does feel
break.
like that. Yeah, it's not that much shorter. I think it's 4 weeks versus 8 weeks, basically.
Maybe.
I mean, it's something like that. Anyway, we're back. We're excited about it. There's a lot to talk about. I mean, where do you even want to start?
Dude,
where do you want to begin?
I love this time of year because we got the Super Bowl that just wrapped up. Then we have F1 starting this weekend. March Madness in March, and then Masters in April. And so, this is, to me, January to April is an all-time sports time. Just in general. You know, it's a great fucking time of the year. I think we got to start talking about some off-season news that happened. Because this is kind of this episode where we're breaking down what happened in the off-season. We're going to talk about 2024 and some predictions, and we'll get into Bahrain a bit. Should we start with the off-season? I feel like that only makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let's just talk about all the stuff that happened. Pick a story, basically.
Dude,
go for it, because there's a lot.
I've got them locked here in order.
Okay.
So
hit me with the first one. What do we got?
This off-season, dude, this has to be one of the craziest off-seasons in F1. I feel like the storylines that we saw for the actual F1 this season were pretty lackluster. It was kind of a boring season last year. And they just saved it all for in a 6-week time where it's you're about to get some shit thrown at you, dude. Everything possible is going to happen. All right.
Well,
first, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, when the season's going on, it was basically stretching to make something interesting other than Max Verstappen and Red Bull being better than everybody else.
Yes.
But when that's not a factor, and then it's all just off the track stuff, we have opportunity for interesting stuff to happen.
We got a Gossip Girl.
So what do we got? Let's gossip. What do you got?
January, big topic that hit. Gunther Steiner leaves Haas, dude. The man that got made from Netflix. Everyone's favorite principal, dude. Who doesn't like Gunther Steiner calling everyone wankers, going, Gene. We're not going to see him anymore, dude. We're not going to see him.
Yeah, so I hope we do see him back in F1 in some capacity. I mean, look, I get Haas stinks.
No, bad.
Smelly. I get it from a a performance perspective.
Yes.
You can't just keep someone around because they're a likable figure on TV. But
I
kind of wish they would.
Can you, dude? Why not?
Why couldn't they just bring on a different team principal and then just kind of have him just be a locker room guy?
Yeah, I want him to be a mascot for the team. You know, or do the press releases. He doesn't actually have any decisions, but he just goes and does all the.
Okay. You know what he needs to do? You know how Tucker Carlson left Fox or got fired from Fox News, but then he became big just talking on his own? I need him to do that.
Same.
He should just start I want him to just jump on camera and just talk about stuff related to F1 and just give his opinion on it, just on a weekly basis.
F1 needs him to stick around, dude, because he is a true personality. we should get him in here, dude.
Yeah,
he starts his own podcast. He takes all of our market share that we have.
That's fine.
But dude, I'm okay with it. If it's going to him, that's fine. But dude, this was a shocking departure. He was the third longest principal by tenure after Toto and Christian Horner. So he's got a legacy in F1, dude. Apparently, there's a mutual agreement between Gene Daddy and Gunther to not renew his contract. His replacement.
I'm sure it was mutual. He was just going to happen.
It's always
Gunther.
mutual.
You're going to walk away quietly, and we're going to say that it was mutual.
His replacement is Ayo Komatsu, who is the former director of engineering at Haas.
I already hate him. I'm just kidding.
Got some big shoes to fill here. Yeah, I mean, dude, I think like it sucks seeing this, dude. When I saw that pop up on Instagram, there's a little tear that dropped from my eye. Like,
World's Smallest Violin.
yeah, it's gonna be like forever those moments where you think of like the before and the after. It's gonna be like before Gunther and after Gunther. We're just missing one of the best guys right now.
Imagine having to fill those shoes. That sucks.
It does
It really
suck, dude.
sucks. Like, you never want to get a job that was previously held by somebody who was university loved,
Yes.
whether or not they were good at that job, because it's just an uphill battle.
No, I feel like
Especially
if you're
they were bad, like he was still loved and they were bad.
and they were bad, dude.
Yeah.
True.
If you're Ayo Komatsu going in there, you've got to just be like the opposite of Gunther. You know,
Yeah.
for people to like you, I feel like you can't be like, you can't try to do what Gunther did. Otherwise, people are gonna be like, yeah, this is Gunther 2.0.
Yeah.
I do think though that Gunther to me doesn't strike me as an engineering kind of guy. I'm sure somewhere in there he is, but he seems more of like just a good dude than anything. And so I'm curious to see what this guy brings to the table in terms of like technical direction for Haas, because boy do they fucking need
Well,
it.
I mean, they have nowhere to go but up, so I'm sure that it, yeah, we'll get into that when we get into predictions.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I'm sure in that regard, he's going to be just fine, probably.
Yeah.
But I
all
agree. It's going to be hard for him to be likable, at least initially.
right, next topic here. We good with Gunther? Moving on?
Yeah, we're good.
RIP.
I mean, I'm not good with what happened, but
No.
for the sake of this conversation, let's keep it rolling.
all right,
Before I start crying.
we got some name changes on the grid. This is the first time, I think, in F1 history that we haven't had any driver changes from year to year, which is super helpful for us. We don't need to remember any new guys coming in, but we had quite a shakeup of some team names. Alfa Romeo, no longer on the grid. They're now the Stake F1 team, Kick Sauber. And then AlphaTauri is now the Racing Bulls / RB, but they're going by Visa, Cash App, Red Bull.
Yes.
So we got some
Dude,
two
V-Carb,
bomb
baby.
names that joined.
V-Carb. Dude, no, it is not. I'm the biggest V-Carb fan
V-Carb?
alive, so I want you to get out of my
yeah.
face with that. You haven't seen people calling him that?
No,
V-Carb,
dude, that's genius,
I
though.
don't know if it's going to stick or not, but I enjoy it. The Visa Cash App
Red Bull.
Racing Team.
Oh,
Listen, there's no more marketable name than that.
These are some ugly ass team names.
Oh,
dude.
it's so bad.
Ugly.
It's so bad. I remember last year we were talking about like the companies that were rumored to be taking over the AlphaTauri sponsorship.
Yeah.
And it was like Hugo
Adidas
and Adidas
Yes.
potentially. And there was another one that's just not coming to mind that was like a relatively known brand that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. And we got Visa,
Visa.
Cash App. It's not even just Visa. It's Visa
No.
and
Do
Visa
those
and
companies,
Cash
are
App.
they even like owned by each other?
I have no idea.
I kinda
But
wanna
what
say
the hell
no.
is going
they
on?
just partnered up.
Yeah.
We're like,
They couldn't.
Visa
They,
Cash App.
honestly, like Visa, you couldn't just be Visa Race Team.
Yeah.
At least,
Visa would be
least.
okay.
I still would have hated it,
Yeah.
but Visa Cash
Cash
App Red Bull Racing
Yeah.
Team is so bad.
Also,
It's
I'm
worse
not-
than the Washington football team,
And that's pretty bad.
which is
way.
bad, and that grew on me though. Actually,
Yeah, now
If
it's
they-
like a meme.
Yeah,
Washington
if they
football
just,
team.
if they would have just become
The Washington football team.
or the Formula One team, the race
F1
car team,
team?
the race car team, that would have been amazing.
Dude, I'm just pissed that Venmo missed out on this because who
Oh,
the fuck
that's
uses
true.
Cash App,
Yeah.
dude? Do people even use Cash App?
No, I mean, I don't know, but they could
No
have been the Venmo, PayPal, Visa,
Zelle.
Apple Pay, Red Bull,
Red Bull
Racing Team.
yeah. Dude, I was thinking about this. These are also I don't even know what Stake is. I think it's like a crypto company.
It's
Is
like
that right?
it's a betting website. It's like
it's a
it's
betting-
like a DraftKings
Oh,
competitor.
okay.
But there was some flack with that though, and I don't, because I guess there's certain countries where they don't allow for
Betting?
gambling,
Yeah.
like gambling marketing, even like the same way that we don't
Oh.
allow cigarette marketing here.
Yeah.
So there was like some gray area on what they would be able to put on their car and their branding when they're like in
Interesting.
certain places.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how that got sorted out or not, but I saw that at one point
It got
was the
worked
story.
out enough.
Yeah. Well, actually, so if I look at how they're like on Sky Sports, how the teams are listed, the Visa Cash App Red Bull Racing Team is just listed as RB.
Oh, okay.
And they're right next to Red Bull. So there's Red Bull and then there's RB. Yeah.
That's fucking
And
annoying.
then,
That's so
um,
confusing.
The Stake, whatever the hell else racing
Yeah,
team
yeah.
is just how do you say it?
Steak?
No,
Sauber.
Sauber. They're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
listed as Sauber.
Oh, okay.
So we're just going to call them RB and Sauber.
RB and Sauber.
I guess that's fine. I
Dude,
like V-Carb. I wish they would have went with V-Carb.
V-Carb is good. That's what we're sticking with here is V-Carb. I'm not going to recognize RB on this podcast. Also,
what do you think about the livery changes with the teams?
I'm glad that we're getting away from this black and white everyone that they have. So I think like AlphaTauri getting away from this, it was so hard last year watching the races because I like.
What do you mean? The colors? Are there like?
Well, basically AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Haas.
They were all the same
they
fucking
all
car.
Basically,
you couldn't
the same.
tell who was who.
Yeah, and like the navy blue didn't really show up on TV as navy blue. It looked
and one had like
black.
a little red stripe on the left, and the other one had a red stripe like on the
rear, it was like
wing.
Genuinely hard sometimes to tell who was who, unless if you could see the number or you just could tell what position they were in, obviously. But yeah, I was talking more specifically. RB and I don't know why I can't remember how to say Sauber, but Sauber. Okay, so to me, the green and black just looks like kitschy. Like it looks like a child designed a race car as opposed to like a serious race team, and I don't love that.
Let me look it up here. I do think the RB car, it looks nice. It reminds me of like the old Toro Rosso colors.
Yeah.
Which I loved those colors, dude.
Why did they not just go back to Toro Rosso?
I don't know.
It's essentially the same
same thing. They've changed their name from Toro Rosso to AlphaTauri to RB. Just pick a lane and stick with it.
Excuse me. Visa Cash App.
Visa Cash App RB. Yeah, dude. The F1 stake Sauber Alfa Romeo team. The color livery looks very lackluster. Very lackluster.
I just think it looks like a kid jumped on Midnight Club 3 and designed a race car.
Yeah. Yeah, it leaves more to be desired, man. Because that's a cool color combo too, like lime green and black. But that was a miss there.
Doesn't Valtteri look like a NASCAR driver?
Oh my God.
Like I feel like in the Alfa Romeo color scheme, he looked like an F1 driver to me. But when you see him in this black and green with stake across his shirt, and then like this hat with the green brim
and the handlebar mustache, with like a half.
He looks
mullet.
like he should be in NASCAR. And actually,
he
now
also
that I say
should
that,
be in NASCAR.
Yeah, I was gonna say now that I say that,
dude.
He actually probably should be in NASCAR.
All right, dude. Next topic here. Moving along.
What do we got?
We got contract lock-ins. Maybe not as juicy of a topic here. Not as juicy as we're going to talk about later. But Leclerc locks in a massive contract with Ferrari. Multi-year extension. Rumored to be 5 years.
Yeah, I was going to say what's interesting about that one is there's no specified time. It just for several more seasons is the language that they published.
What I saw, rumored to be 5 years, $30 million year one, going up to $50 million year five. So it's over a $200 million contract. So Leclerc is getting that fucking bag, dude. That fucking bag and a half. And then Lando's got a nice juicy extension on his contract.
Also, quote, long term. There's no.
That's so weird.
There's
no really how they phrase it.
Yeah. There's no date.
Don't say years.
Well, no, they typically do. For those two contracts, Leclerc says several more seasons, and Lando's just says long term.
I couldn't find anything for Lando's.
They haven't published it. No, literally. I'm looking right now at all the contract extension dates and like current standings, and those two several more seasons, long term. That's it.
I love these two boys. Probably top three drivers for me, from just like a fan favorite perspective. Happy we're gonna see them stick around.
Yeah, they're gonna be around for a while. I mean, I can't say that.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say the only.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say something to the effect of the only way we don't see Leclerc in F1 is if we don't see Leclerc on the earth anymore by his own doing because of F1. But
there's a chance that happens.
Well, yeah,
I'm kind of surprised he did this, dude. He's miserable at Ferrari. Miserable.
He's gotta be.
But also, like, when someone hands you 200 mil,
right?
Are you saying no?
Listen,
I would do a lot for 200 mil.
I would be miserable at Ferrari for far less than 200 mil.
Same.
At what price point would you be miserable at Ferrari for?
To be an F1 driver. Let's say you're a driver already. Let's say you're
you're already like a real caliber F1 driver.
Not like you pick up your
us.
No, today I would pay them.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably 2 mil, 3 mil.
Okay. Well, I think the lowest contract on the grid last year was Yuki, and I think he was at like 1 mil flat.
Yeah.
So that's insane. What a
But I think for like anyone to drive with Ferrari, if you haven't drove there before, is like enough of a prestigious.
I feel like you could leverage that into enough other opportunities down the line that it would be worth it for even like
sponsorships.
Like would you take minimum contract to drive for Ferrari versus having a higher contract but driving for stake?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Any day of the week. Maybe not Mercedes or Red Bull.
No. But I want
McLaren.
like you're either bottom of the barrel or you're at Ferrari.
Yeah, Ferrari.
You would take a huge price cut for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
for
fair.
sure. Ford versus Ferrari. I don't know though.
Last time we brought up that movie, I got yelled at on TikTok by a bunch of Euro bros. So I'm just gonna stay silent on that one. All right. So other contract news, and just kind of updates in general. So Verstappen, he is signed with Red Bull through 2028. There are a ton of contracts that expire at the end of 2024.
This is gonna be a crazy year.
So
dude.
just to run through those really quick, Perez, Hamilton, which we'll talk about later, Sainz, Alonso, Ocon, Gasly, Sargent, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, Magnussen, and Hulkenberg.
Is that 12?
I believe it's 12. Oh, and 11 if you minus the one that we already know being Lewis, which we'll talk to. Well, we don't know what's going to happen to him yet.
No. But
so 11 contracts basically are totally up in the air. That's crazy.
Let's go.
Silly
dude.
season is going to be really silly this year.
I hope there's some shakeups and some move. Well, there already are.
Yeah, and there's totally going to be. I mean, do you just want to jump right into that?
Yeah, let's just talk about that.
What happened?
That is the biggest.
Stop gatekeeping.
Why don't we just talk about this at first? This is the biggest news in F1 fucking history of all time.
Well, maybe I don't know about that. But go ahead. It's big news.
It's mad, dude.
The biggest news in F1 history of all time.
For the modern day fan, this is the biggest news in F1 in the
okay,
F1 modern day history.
For the American Instagram model fan who's trying to decide if I want to wear Lewis Hamilton gear for my picture this weekend or Ferrari gear for my picture this weekend, Nick has some great news for you now.
You don't need to make a choice anymore. Hamilton is going to Ferrari, dude. And this shit is insane. When I saw this pop up on my newsfeed, I was in disbelief. I thought it was a fucking joke. I thought it was really like just a fucking I went denial mode. I'm like, no way would Hamilton ever leave his fucking hand holder daddy Toto Wolff at Mercedes to say fuck it and go to Ferrari. I'm trying to talk to buddies about this, Bo. Help me what's an analogy? What's an analogy of this happening? Because I can't think about anything of other sports to put this into context.
This would have been Steph Curry going to the Cavs and leaving Golden State to go play with LeBron at the Cavs. When LeBron went back to Cleveland, and it was a big deal that LeBron went to Cleveland, and then were there a couple years... so I hate basketball, just for everyone listening. I'm actually not at all really a basketball fan, but I follow it loosely. Wasn't there a stint there where the Cavs and Golden State were neck and neck for 5 years or something like that? Yeah, so it would be like if Steph won those championships with Golden State, and then 2 years later said, you know what, never mind, I'm going to actually go with the Cavs and play with LeBron. That's basically the equivalent to this.
It was just so shocking. Because my assumption was he was going to stick around Mercedes one more year, retire a Mercedes.
I have a better example. It would be like if Tom Brady, instead of going to the Bucks, went to the Giants.
Yeah. Yes.
Like if he would have went to the Giants, that would have been huge. Or Aaron Rodgers going to the Bears.
And if the Giants had a chance of winning the Super Bowl also.
You're saying go to your nemesis type thing.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah. I mean Lewis, there has been few times in modern history where Ferrari was truly a threat to Mercedes as opposed to Mercedes either being extremely dominant or threatened by Red Bull mostly. So it's not exactly like that, but it kind of is.
It kind of is, dude.
It's like going to one of the next best things that you're supposed to be in direct competition with. By the way, how I understand it from Lewis's side. How does Mercedes let this happen?
I don't know, dude.
How does this happen?
How do they? He's the biggest name on the grid by far.
By far,
the most tenured, the best resume on the grid.
Sure, Max.
The GOAT. Yeah, he might be the greatest of all time. Max is making a run right now, but how does Mercedes fuck this up, dude?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I've heard a lot of different versions of why this happened, and one of them, two parts to this that I heard, but I can't confirm if they're true, were that he was pushing for some type of equity in Mercedes race team that he did not receive, and then separately that he wanted X amount of dollars for his nonprofit, his Lewis Hamilton organization that he runs, that for some reason they didn't commit to, but Ferrari did. Allegedly that was a big part of this. I don't know for sure, but it has to be something like that. I mean, how can you possibly fumble the bag on this?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
And it's not okay, if there was some very, very obvious rising star or other person that they were going after, fine, I guess. I mean, I still don't agree with it, but at least you could be oh, okay, well, Oscar Piastri already signed with them. Or something where it's okay, there's a rising star. Yuki Tsunoda, I don't know, maybe somebody really great. But all I'm just saying, there has to be more to it. And I don't know, maybe
it was weird, dude. I think he he announced it and then told Toto, which I thought the other way would have happened, where he would have told Toto first. But also, if you tell him,
do you think he actually didn't know? Do you think that's real?
I agree. I think it's real that Toto didn't know.
Like, you think Toto found out when you and I did, basically?
If not when you and I did, right before.
Well, I mean,
I think
it happened before he found out about it. Like, Lewis didn't go to him and say, "Hey, I'm going to be signing this." You think he signed it and then went to him and was like,
"I do."
Yeah,
Weren't we talking about this last year, where there was rumors of Hamilton leaving?
Didn't we
talk about this?
Yes, but it wasn't Red Bull. It wasn't Ferrari.
No, definitely.
It was
why
Red
would
Bull.
anyone
It was
have
Red
ever
Bull.
thought that he would go to Ferrari?
I think we were talking about him just straight up retiring or going to
Red
maybe
Bull.
Red
I feel like
Bull.
there was
to fill that seat because we
Yes.
assumed. Checo's going to be in that seat for 9 more years, according to his dad. So he's fine. Actually, this is a good time to touch on this. Do we think Checo is entering the season worried? Where are we on the Checo
worried scale?
Yeah, where are we on the Checo
Not
worried
worried.
scale? Not
worried.
Okay.
No,
Yeah, I'd
Checo's
agree.
not worried, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely shouldn't be. He's totally fine.
Should
So
not
it's
be
fine.
worried. What was I gonna say, dude? What the fuck was I gonna say? Yeah, this is nuts. Okay, let's talk about this because I got this in my notes for later. But how the hell does Hamilton race this season?
Yeah, well, how does Sainz race this season?
Yes.
What? I saw that on Instagram. He removed all of his, you have your highlights on Instagram.
Yeah.
He removed all the Ferrari ones.
Sainz did? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so there's
Also,
beef.
he's-
Which, by the
He's got
way,
vengeance.
this is one thing I love about F1. These guys are so petty.
They're so petty,
Like,
bro.
petty-
Even Hamilton's
yeah, I know.
petty.
It's
Even
so
Hamilton's
funny.
like, yeah, fuck you, Mercedes. We have 7 championships. Fuck
Yeah.
you. I'm going to Ferrari.
As somebody who just appreciates a good petty move, these are the pettiest guys ever. It's amazing.
Blocking on Instagram. I don't think it's any pettier than
Yeah,
that
there's
shit,
always
you know?
paying attention to who's following who unfollowed who. But yeah, he removed all of his Ferrari highlights. I mean, how is either of them? I can understand why Lewis is motivated to do well this season. I mean, okay, I guess Sainz's motivation is to have a seat,
have a seat next year.
which should, in theory, be motivating enough. But man, wouldn't you feel slighted?
You got to feel like shit if you're Sainz. Hamilton's got to just be pleased. Mercedes is going to be like, what the fuck? And also, yeah, how the hell does Hamilton, that's what I want to know. Is Mercedes supporting Hamilton this year?
Well-
is Russell's going to be their
that's
number
right,
one
I
guy.
forgot.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You
No
know?
one's happier than George Russell right now.
Dude.
He is gonna be so happy. You've seen all those memes and stuff where people, I forgot the guy's name on YouTube. He's awesome though, and he imitates all of the drivers.
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, great dude.
And I can't remember his name, but anytime he plays George Russell, he's always like, yeah, it's really hard to be the number 2 driver on a team, but I think Lewis is handling it really well. And
This guy predicted the future,
I
dude.
know, he knew it.
Yes.
So are we? It kind of makes me like George Russell a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see what he does with it.
I will never like George Russell.
I know. We'll see what he does with it. What if he's just a dick to Lewis and he's just like, this is my team now. I'm the captain now.
I think he's gonna.
You
And
think so?
I think everyone in Mercedes is gonna be like, Hamilton, we're happy for you, but also kind of, we don't really care how you do
You
this
think
season.
so? Okay, here's
But they're
a question.
also competitors.
Are they obligated to let him race so many races?
I have no idea.
Because couldn't they just start filling in other people here and there to see, start testing people basically
I'm
if
sure
they know
they
he's
could.
leaving?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but I'm wondering if that will
Is there a
happen.
clause where he is required to drive so many times or something?
I'm sure there is some type of if he's healthy and able.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question, but I'd be interested because you would think at some point they're going to want to start.
Yeah, well, and
planning
also no way they're
something.
gonna disclose all this information to
No,
Lewis either.
yeah.
So I think Sainz is gonna have a hell of a year, dude. He's got something to prove.
He has
this
nothing to
season,
lose.
dude.
Well, he has everything to lose, actually.
Yeah,
But
he has his career to lose.
Yeah.
Will you cheer for Hamilton at Ferrari?
No.
Oh,
I won't cheer for Hamilton pretty much ever, period.
dude, I feel like I'm gonna be cheering for Hamilton at Ferrari.
Will you?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh yeah.
What's your motivation?
I mean, I like Charles Leclerc.
I love
He's a
Leclerc.
great figure. I would love to see him succeed.
I feel like
I don't not want to see Lewis succeed, but I also would be totally fine with it if he didn't.
F1 is so weird where it's like whoever's not winning is who you're cheering for. You know,
Yeah.
just in general. And so it'd be a hell of a story for Hamilton to go from Mercedes to Ferrari with this big fuck you middle finger, and then winning a show
win
with
a
Ferrari
championship?
in
Yeah.
red, and then just saying peace out, bye.
That would be dope. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not rooting against him actively, but I also am just kind of eh.
Nah, all right.
I'm ready for him to
All
not
right.
be in F1 anymore. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from his career. The
Yeah.
guy's amazing. I do think Max is going to end up putting in better numbers in the long term, assuming
Same.
he stays healthy and all that good stuff. But I'm not trying to take anything away from Lewis. I'm just also kind of over it.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Fair.
And so we'll see. Now, on the flip side of George Russell being probably the happiest dude on the planet, Charles Leclerc must be You'd be pissed, right?
I can't tell. Like he's got this giant bag secured, and that came out before they announced Hamilton as the number 2 driver.
But wouldn't Hamilton be like the worst possible teammate if you're Charles Leclerc?
1,000%.
Because
1,000%.
You're
or
getting
Max.
Well, yeah, Max. I mean, Max isn't going anywhere.
No.
But yes, I agree. Max would obviously be number 1 because he's the most dominant. But the thing about Lewis is, I mean, he's not the most dominant today. He was obviously at one time, but from a like social perspective, he is the biggest name in the sport. So now you're competing with somebody who can generally compete with you on a talent level, but is significantly bigger than you. Like it doesn't matter how good Charles Leclerc is now. He's not the number 1 name at Ferrari. Period.
No.
It doesn't matter. He could beat Lewis in every single race, and he probably will, and it won't matter.
No. Dude, well,
so like to the average American fan, which is who is listening to this show, and a lot of people who are going to be watching F1 are casual fans. To like the hardo Reddit fans out there, they're
maybe different.
Yeah, it might be a little different, but that's not what I'm talking about here.
Dude, so little theory I want to go down with you.
Okay.
Like if Hamilton he's going to Ferrari in 2024.
Yes.
Which means he was open to going really probably to either Red Bull or Ferrari.
Or staying, yeah.
And so like, is there a world where like Red Bull, he maybe went to Red Bull, you know?
I don't know.
That would have been insane.
There were rumors about that being a conversation. I would have hated that so much.
Sucked, yeah.
I couldn't imagine Max and Hamilton.
Oh my gosh.
In the car that they have too. That would have been like a sight to see, dude. Like who truly is the better driver? I mean,
that would be fun.
That
I would love to
really
see
cool.
that.
Yeah.
I think it's
Sort of
Max
like once for
personally, but
yeah.
All the only race you ever need to watch to know that is true is Qatar of last season, where it was like 1,000 degrees. Logan Sargent was literally dying and had to retire the car. And every single driver on the grid had a penalty. I think everyone had at least 2 track limit infringements.
Yeah.
Max, 0.
0.
That's all I needed to see. It's like the worst conditions ever, and he is just bulletproof consistency.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
somebody like throw up in their helmet.
That was Albon, I think. Albon was like, he like pulls in and he's like, I vomited in my helmet.
Squeezing through his windshield.
Yeah, it's a crazy race. But I think Max is the best driver of all time.
Yeah.
Period. But regardless, I mean, that was most of the crazy offseason news. The only other story that I had written down, the Horner investigation.
Yeah.
Horny
Dude, investigation. Horny Horner.
Oh no. Okay.
Horny Horner.
So disavow, because breaking news for you as of today, wiped clean of the charges.
He's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as per Twitter news reporting, he's allegedly good. No moving forward on any of these charges.
Okay.
It was never honestly that I saw disclosed exactly what it was.
No.
My understanding is it was some type of allegation from somebody within the Red Bull organization.
Yeah.
And
all they've said is made aware of certain recent allegations. Company launched an independent investigation.
I love it, by the way, when companies independently investigate themselves. That's always great. Yeah,
we investigated ourselves and we found nothing wrong.
And it turns out we're good. Yeah.
Well, Horny Horner continues, but who knows what it was? You know, it could have been him being a horn dog. It could have been him eating a corn dog. It could have been like, you know, who knows what his allegations were.
Some chick making stuff up.
Yeah. It's hard to know.
It could have been nothing sexual too. Like it could have been like
we don't know for sure.
Wasn't that what it was though?
He could have he could have murdered someone.
Yeah,
you know, like we don't know what it is. It just says recent allegations.
The rumor was that it was some type of inappropriate conduct with a female employee of the club. It's again like here's what I'll say about it. I'm not to speak for the pod, but this is what I believe our official stance should be. If he was found innocent, we're just going to move forward with that. We do not know what happened. That being said, if there is a victim here and he was wrongfully found innocent, I genuinely feel sorry for that victim. No one deserves to be a victim. No one deserves to be wrongly found innocent or wrongly found guilty. So I hope that the outcome that we currently have is the true outcome. And if that is the case, that is great. Let's keep moving forward.
Cool.
If it's not, I'm sure he'll do something stupid again and get caught and justice will eventually be served. So I feel like that should be a good official stance for us.
Yeah.
Was it the most surprising news of all time when we heard about this? Not necessarily. That being said, let's give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. And do I think that Red Bull's internal investigation was a super stand-up internal investigation? Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm sure it was Max and Adrian Newey being like, yeah, we looked into this. And
Yeah, I checked. It's fine.
found nothing.
Yeah,
Trust me, bro.
This just isn't adding up.
In all
That
seriousness,
just isn't working.
and seriously, in all seriousness, all that I hope is whatever the outcome is
Yeah.
the reality of the situation as it actually happened, and however the chips fall based on
Yeah.
that is like what we want.
Definitely.
We're truth seekers on this podcast.
Yeah, well,
all I
we're-
want is the truth.
Yeah, exactly. We've done our independent journalism on this too, and we have found nothing either way. So.
Yeah, and we're not going to, because the reality is like none of us as fans are going to get an inside look of what actually happened. Like it's just not going to happen. So again, if there is a victim, very sorry. I hope you get the justice you deserve. If there is not truly a victim, then let's just keep moving on and do let's do race car stuff.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, less serious stuff. I guess the last thing, sorry, was Andretti just getting deeshed by F1. Thoughts?
Bullshit, political, and let's keep this little F1 thing a fucking European
They just,
boys
I
club,
know,
dude.
they
That's
hate
what this
Americans.
is.
That's what it is. Okay.
They fucking hate Americans.
Yes.
You want to know why they hate it?
They also
it's because we fucking beat them in the American Revolution.
Yes,
We-
and
we-
Ford
we-
versus Ferrari.
And yes, we poured a little bit of tea in the Boston Harbor. All of a sudden, they're still pissed about that. That was 300 years ago. Let's move on.
Have you seen the movie Gran
Get over
Turismo?
it.
Yeah.
That guy's an American.
Yes.
Yeah.
And guess what? He got shit on in that movie too.
Yeah.
But he proved them all fucking wrong.
Yeah. Ever heard of baseball?
Yeah, the best sport of all.
Ever
Ever
had
heard of
cheeseburgers?
steroids?
Yeah. Cheeseburgers, dude. America.
Fucking bullshit, dude.
Yeah, it is a bummer.
Fucking bullshit.
I don't really know.
They left the door open for them to join in 2028. But
Yeah, but this
This
feels
is
like
just-
you're kicking the can down the road.
it's a classic like F1 is like they're honeypotting them.
I'm with you. It is BS. It totally
It's bullshit.
sucks. And I actually don't know. Is Audi still in the running for a 2026 seat?
I think they that's
No,
secure.
they have a contract, I
Yeah.
think, or something.
Is
I
that
think
that's
it's- I
official?
think it's 2028. But yeah, my belief is that is locked in.
No, Audi definitely is coming because one of
That
my
is
friends
official?
is,
Okay.
like, going
That's locked
crazy
in.
with Audi.
All right.
and,
Well, that is extra bullshit if they are locked in and Andretti was not. That sucks. We'll see what happens. Sorry, I had one last thing. This is a smaller piece of news, but was cool for us just because of how close it is. The official filing of the rights for the Chicago Grand Prix.
Oh,
So
yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah, so there's a lot of rumor, and that was official. Like the naming rights were purchased,
Mhm.
and I think there was two versions of it. I think there was like the Chicago Grand Prix, and then like some version of like America, like Grand Prix of America for America, something like this.
Sweet.
Which the rumor is that it might replace Austin. That they
Oh.
might go Miami, Chicago, Vegas, which for our purposes would be very
if they're
cool.
in Chicago, we're going.
Oh yeah, I mean that would be awesome. And so the rumor is that it was gonna like the track would be on the east side of the city, kind of near like around Soldier Field. So like the south. It's not really the south side, but like along the water,
Yeah.
which would be cool. Could you
Except-
imagine watching them go down like going down the street like right on Lake Michigan? That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
So I'm kind of like torn on this because I think F1 is for whatever reason pushing street circuits. If this goes, like, fuck, like, hey, I'm happy there's a race in Chicago because
Yeah.
we can go see this. It's an hour and a half away. Bo, you live in Chicago. Like,
do.
You can go. This is in your. You can probably look out your window and see Hamilton drive
Yeah,
by. You
that's
know,
true.
like,
Yeah.
So you have it made.
There's oh, hey.
Hey, hi. But same thing I'm going to say about Vegas. They got the Madrid Grand Prix that they're doing too. It's another street circuit. They announced that for the calendar next year. Like F1 has this big love for street circuits when I think that street circuits just don't bring the best racing.
Why don't you like them?
They're cool.
Well-
they're super impressive. They're fun.
The physical
But
tracks typically are not that
the
conducive
tracks
for
aren't
great
good.
racing. They're typically a lot more narrow.
Yes.
They're typically a lot more. I was going to say angular, but that's like a stupid way of phrasing that. They're typically they're not purpose built designed
Yes.
for racing, and so the racing is typically worse. Like it's
Exactly.
really just
That's
that
what it
simple.
is.
Yeah.
So, but am I pumped? Yeah.
From a
I hope they don't get rid of Kota though, dude, because that's a good fucking track.
Well,
in my
it's a
opinion.
dedicated track,
Yes.
which is nice. But
Yes.
yeah, that was the rumor that I heard, because otherwise we'd have 4 races in the U.S., which I feel
Oh, yeah,
like
we have Miami too. I forgot
feels
about Miami.
unlikely. I don't know what the contract is for Miami. I know Vegas is like a long-term deal.
Yeah.
That was like 10 years or
years, yeah.
something. So that's definitely not going
What do they
anywhere.
also? I think they're now before Chicago, they registered Miami, Austin, and then
There were rumors
Vegas,
of
and then New York.
I was gonna say there were rumors of New York as well,
yeah,
but
I think they registered it, but they're 3 for 4.
yeah,
so there's
my
a pretty good sign
understanding
that.
is that that's fallen through like officially the New York thing allegedly.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I haven't heard anything else about it
that's
either.
what that's what I. It hasn't been officially, I don't think,
Well, dude,
like
NASCAR
announced.
did a race in Chicago, and everyone, I think it got rained out actually.
Oh, it did. Yeah, it did.
Love that. Awesome. All right, let's move on to let's look forward.
Yeah,
Let's look at
love it, dude.
2024.
About time.
Do you want to just jump straight into kind of our predictions for this year at large?
Yeah, and so I'll start with preseason testing because that got done about a week ago. Ferrari set the fastest lap, but what does that mean? To me, everyone is saying Red Bull's still going to be the team to beat this year. Ferrari and Mercedes are 2 and 3, and then it kind of just you got the regular run of the mill teams. But dude, should we do predictions or what we're watching for?
Yeah, I think we should jump into. Oh, we can do either. I mean, for preseason testing, I don't really have too much of anything. There was nothing that really stood out. Max is very fast, and there were rumors that he wasn't using 100% of their power.
Yeah.
So,
and he also came out and said that he felt he had too much time, which is never a good thing.
yeah. So not too much to say there. Yeah, let's just jump into the season. So how do you want to break this down?
Well, dude, one thing that I'm super pumped for is I hope we get to see Lando's first win this year.
Yes.
That is one thing I'm going to be watching. I just want Lando to get a win. And then also we're going to see Daniel Ricciardo's first full season as well, too. We actually got to have an off season with Daniel Ricciardo in that car, making changes, making wrecks. So, dude, those are the two things that I'm looking forward to. What I'm not looking forward to is Max winning every fucking race this season.
Yeah.
Does that happen in the end of this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every race?
I think
Yes.
if I had to place a bet on it, I think Max wins on the low end 60% of the races, and on the high end
100
all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
I think it is legitimately possible that Red Bull just essentially sweeps again.
I totally because they won all but one race last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Science, baby.
Science.
Who's the only guy that's lost his
Yeah, he
seat so
needs it,
far?
man. Science,
for
we need
next
you
year.
again.
Yeah. How messed up is that? You're the only guy that wins a race last year other than Red Bull, and then
Ferrari
you're the
fucks
first
you.
guy with a guaranteed losing your
Crazy.
seat next year. Dude, F1
That
is savage,
sucks,
man.
man.
It really is.
That is crazy.
No, I think there's a non-zero chance of that for sure. I think realistically he'll win
70, 80.
3/4 of the races.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunately.
Should we do 1, 2, 3 for how the
Constructors?
drivers are gonna? No, let's go drivers. How it's
Okay.
gonna shake out.
All right. I mean, do you want to start Max?
Max is gonna win.
Max is going to win the championship. Who's your 2?
I think Checo. Checo, because I think Red Bull's car is just gonna be so good this year. I don't want to do the same as last year, dude. But number 3, I could see Leclerc sneaking in there. I could see Ferrari having a good car this year. If things went better for Leclerc this last year, it would have looked so much different for him. So I'm gonna go, Max, Sergio, and Leclerc as 1, 2, 3.
That's solid. What I want to see is Max, Lando, Leclerc.
That'd be cool.
What I think we're going to see is Max either, it's kind of cheating, but I was going to say either Sainz or Leclerc, and then Checo. I think Checo will finish either P3 or P2.
Most races.
Probably.
Yeah.
So really the question is who's going to fill that other spot, and I think it's either going to be Charles Leclerc because Ferrari gets their shit together, or it's going to be Sainz because he literally needs to so that he can stay in F1.
He has to.
Yeah.
What
And
happens if Ferrari sucks this year? Like, what if they're just like the worst car on the grid? Does Hamilton still go?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Probably. It's so much money. I feel like he still goes, but I don't know. I mean, Sainz is in a tough spot.
Yes.
Like he's okay.
And why would the team support him either? You know?
Right. Well, that's the thing. We're either going to see the worst of him or the absolute best. Like, we're either going to see a totally defeated, like, down and out, this is it for his career, or where he's going to rise to the occasion and we're going to see, like, a savage, like...
I hope it's that, dude.
Yeah.
I
I would love to see that. He's awesome. Like, as a guy, like, to watch,
phenomenal,
he's great.
dude.
Like, I would love to see that. I think it'll be really telling within the first 2 races, probably, what we're going to get out of him, most likely. I mean, for the constructors then, I mean, we're essentially looking at Red Bull, probably Ferrari, and then that 3 spot is a little bit contentious. Mercedes. McLaren would be great. I would love to see that. It's probably going to be them or Mercedes, right? I mean, like, the top 4 is going to be some combination of Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren.
Yes.
I mean, do you think any other team has a chance at the podium?
No.
Aston Martin?
Aston Martin, maybe. they came out last year, and we'll talk about this in Bahrain, but like they came out last year so hot and then just dropped off as the season went on. And then McLaren did the exact opposite. They had the worst start in F1 history and then ended up like rebuilding as it goes. I think, but it's going to be like Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari as the top three. And I think that like second position is going to be super close. And I think it's going to be like Red Bull clear W, Mercedes, Ferrari as like a close race for second. And I think McLaren's going to take it off for fourth this year.
Okay. You think they'll end up at fourth?
I do.
That's fair. I feel
don't know.
like
I think that Lewis is just going to have a dog season and he's not going to give a shit. And I think that McLaren might sneak in.
Hamilton's kicking his feet up this year.
Yeah.
Playing some Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this will be, they're really coming from like different sides of the coin, but seeing like his mentality portrayed versus science is going to be a really interesting thing to watch.
Yes.
Basically, they're coming from totally different perspectives, but they're both in a weird circumstance. So it'll be, I think, pretty telling about like their character.
Do you think we're going to get sick of hearing about that storyline this year?
I'm already a little sick of talking about it, and this is the first episode that we're back, to be totally honest. But yeah, okay. I think let's just run through the teams. I'm going to run through the teams. I want you to tell me if you think anything noteworthy or interesting is going to happen with any of these people.
Okay.
Alpine, what are they going to do?
That's my biggest disappointment. I think they are going to be 9th or 10th this year.
Very French.
Yeah, they're super French.
Yeah.
They had a podium last year. I think they maybe had 2 podiums. Yeah, I think they're going to be a really, really bad team this year. That's my prediction right there.
Okay, noted. I don't hate that take. So far, they've been miraculously mediocre and,
like always.
and extremely French.
Yep.
Aston Martin, we talked about them a little bit. Thoughts?
Similar to last year.
Okay.
What do you think?
Basically, so Fernando Alonso scores 90% of the points that they get. Lance Stroll has a spot because of his dad.
Yeah, Lance Stroll like goes pro in tennis this year.
Okay. Do you?
It doesn't hurt himself on a bike race.
Do you think there is any chance that Lance Stroll beats Fernando Alonso in points?
Oh, that'd be so funny. No, because Fernando is reversed aging. I don't know how he's done it.
Yes, in his picture he did.
He looks
it's
better
gotta
than
be
he
like
did
AI,
when he
right?
was. I don't know what it is.
Why in their picture does he look 20 years younger and Lando Norris
looks
look
like
20
a
years
70-year-old
older?
creep,
I
man.
know. Why did that
I
happen?
don't know.
All right. So you're saying no shot Lance beats Fernando.
No.
Do you think Lance gets a renewed contract?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Lock, that's a lock, dude.
Okay. Ferrari we already talked about. Let's skip it. Haas, K-Mag, and Hulk. What do we think?
Oh God. 7th.
Okay. Yes.
8th. Actually 8th. 8th or 9th.
So you're putting him behind Alpine?
No, Alpine 10.
Oh, you think Alpine's
Alpine
10?
10.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go with Haas is 9.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't care. No, I mean,
Everyone gives a shit.
I feel like last season. I know. All jokes aside, I feel like last season both Haas and Alfa Romeo were just there all the time. Like every single week, we were trying to find an excuse to talk about either of those two teams, and there was just nothing to talk about.
Even the broadcasters. Like I think their name got brought up once a race, maybe, and it was if there was a crash.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Just I don't have the contracts pulled up anymore, but I believe both of them are due at year end.
Joe and Bottas?
No,
or,
Mag and Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Magnussen and Hulkenberg are both up for contract. I mean, the team is not good. Both of the drivers are remarkably uninteresting.
Yep.
They're just
Hulkenberg's
there.
a douche.
They're just there.
K-Mag's also just kind of a douche.
I'm like, I don't mind either of them, but I don't like they're just there.
Yeah.
They're literally just extras.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're out of here or do something interesting or entertaining to watch. Man, this is a segment all the Euro bros are gonna love. You don't know anything about racing. You didn't even drive karts when you were 4 years old, dude. How dare you talk about my favorite sport?
We've just gone in on Haas this episode.
Yeah, we kind of have. Sorry,
we just
guys.
tore them apart.
It's okay.
Except for the guy.
Except for Gunther.
Well, I'd say that's what happens when you get rid of Gunther.
The best guy on your team.
The guy. The producer, producer Jake's been doing a lot of research on F1 since last season, as you can tell. All right, moving on. McLaren, thoughts?
Great season.
Nice. Okay.
Great season.
Does Lando get his first win?
Yes.
Okay. Does he get more than one?
No.
No? Okay. Does
Who
Lando
wins first?
Right.
Piastri or Lando?
Well, I mean, Piastri has his sprint win.
Oh, true. He's already got it, Lando.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I think Lando wins the race first. I hope Lando wins the race first.
Me too.
And I like Piastri, actually.
Same.
I think he's extremely talented. I think
good
that
lads.
McLaren's either going to have to drop a bag on him soon, or he's going to end up filling like that Mercedes spot or someone that has a lot of money, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a great season. I could see them as a team getting on the constructors' podium. I definitely could see it happening, especially P3. I hope Lando gets his first win. If I had to guess, I think it's honestly like kind of a coin flip as to who I think will end the season with more points, though. Like, I really could see it going either way. I would like to say that Lando, in theory, should, just based on experience, but I don't know. I think the jump from rookie season to like sophomore year is a pretty big, layer of comfortability that Piastri probably has now that he wouldn't have had before. So
yeah, he's no longer like figuring it out.
Yeah,
he's doing it.
Right. Like the
he
difference,
knows the tracks.
Right.
You know?
Like the difference between year 1 and 2 is significantly bigger than Lando's difference between what year like 5 and 6
exactly.
or like 6 and 7, 5 and 6, I think.
I totally agree.
So and they were kind of tight last year.
Super tight.
So yeah, it'll be pretty interesting. Mercedes, we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
George Russell's the captain now.
Dude, I'm so pissed that George Russell's the guy there.
His new
What a
picture
fucking-
with his like
what a
perfect
joke.
mid part of his hair is so British,
What a
dude.
joke,
It's wild.
man.
That guy's
looks
gonna
like a skeleton.
That guy's
He
gonna
does.
he's gonna drink so much tea. It's crazy. No, I mean he's good. He's good. He's gonna have a good year. I don't know. I don't have anything too exciting. Now for the real team that everyone wants to talk about, the Visa Cash App Red Bull Racing Team. Danny Ricciardo, Yuki Tsunoda, the team that would formerly known as AlphaTauri, the team that is forcing Nick to get a tattoo, which we're going to do.
that.
Oh, we're
Still
going
need
to do it.
Yeah.
We're going to do it on camera. I'm working it out right now. So
Yep. We got the artist coming in next week.
bear with us for that. We are going to do that. Thoughts on this team? Are either of these guys going to still be in F1 at the end of this year? Because I think there's a legitimate chance that neither of them are.
They're number 1 in our hearts. Number 6 on the grid.
Okay.
I
That's
think,
actually better than I would have thought you
I
said.
think they're gonna have like a decently fine year. They're re-energized, new sponsorship. They're just repping. They're getting paid in like Cash App. Daniel Ricciardo's like his salary no longer it's a check. It's just like, hey, can we Cash App this to you?
I mean, they're legitimately just copying as much of Red Bull as physically possible.
Yes.
And my understanding is the car is they're kind of doing the exact same thing.
I think their car is the same car that they had last year.
Yeah, it's like
RB's car
it's
is Red Bull's car last year.
I think it was from 2 cars ago.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
It was something to the effect of like they're essentially driving what used to be a Red Bull car.
They dropped off the Red Bull car in the RB factory and said,
repainted it,
whoops.
yeah.
Like,
How did this get here?
Oh, I guess we'll use this now.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I am very excited to see these two go head to head for a full season,
Yeah,
and
same.
when they had off season training and all that stuff. Yeah, I mean, Danny Rick is healthy now. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Yuki's like a legitimate. He's not a new guy anymore. Like I don't think he gets, at least in my opinion, even as somebody who likes him, I don't think like mentally I give him that like pass anymore. Like
No.
you've been in F1 for 4 seasons now. I think this would be.
Yeah, if he doesn't like have the poise like he has
If he
never
doesn't have
had,
it now, he's not going to get it.
and it's
Yeah.
like he needs. This is a year for him of just being like consistent and not freaking the fuck out over the team radio.
But I kind of hope he does a
I
little
do
bit.
too.
Yeah. Dude, where does he even go from here, though, right? Because, okay, this RB team is not intended on being a long-term solution. Like, Horner has been very direct about the fact that this team is intended on, like, pipelining their way to Red Bull. Red Bull has pretty much shown no indication that there's a realistic chance of Yuki having that seat.
No.
As much as I would love it and I joke about it, there's never really been a time where I'm like, yeah, if Checo goes down tomorrow, like it's definitely Yuki filling that seat.
yeah,
So
I see Albon maybe sneaking back into the Red Bull.
yeah, okay, so
shakeup.
there's rumors about that too. I
Yeah.
forgot to mention that before.
and I feel like Adrian Newey kind of like shut that down. Like,
yeah, well,
but, like,
I just wouldn't that be a weird move? Why does Red Bull want Albon back?
I'm with you. Like he like had his chance. He kind of floundered.
Well, and he hasn't been bad with Williams, but
No,
he
he's
hasn't
been fine.
Yeah, he's been fine. You know,
been
he
fine.
hasn't been like notably like he hasn't been like out driving that car
No.
significantly.
No.
So
No.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, again, it's going to be funny. Watching Daniel Rick is always a good time.
Mhm.
The occasional freak out moment from Yuki is always a good time. So we have that to look
Never
forward
a
to.
bad time with those guys.
I'm not convinced that we're necessarily going to see either of those two guys in a renewed seat after this season.
Yeah.
We'll see, I guess.
Is one of them going to move into Checo's seat by the end of the year?
No, I think
No?
I doubt it. I
Okay.
think that
I'm saying yes.
like during the season.
And I'm saying Checo's not worried.
Wait, you think
Danny Rick or Yuki's going to move up into the Red Bull seat this year?
like during
Yes.
the season? Wow.
Yes.
Okay, that's a hot take.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I think there's an equal chance that Liam Lawson. I think there's an equal chance that Liam Lawson sits in that seat during this year as there is these two guys.
Wow. Oh no.
You don't think so?
Oh no.
All right. We'll see. Red Bull.
I feel like this Cash App team is just kind of a joke right now.
It's a fucking joke.
Okay,
dude.
well, okay. First of all,
kind of a joke. Ricky.
Whoa!
Danny Rick has broken hands half the
Whoa!
time.
Okay.
Lance
Yuki Tsunoda has a bowl cut.
Lance Stroll also had broken hands.
His dad also owns a team.
Okay. Whoa. All right. We're moving on because I'm not going to handle any V-carb slander.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
V-carb
slander is off limits in this.
Them the boys. Okay. They're going to be just fine. Okay, Red Bull. I don't even want to talk about Red Bull. We pretty much talked about them enough.
Yeah.
Steak. The Steak boys.
You know, the most we're going to talk about them is this podcast.
Who? Steak?
Steak.
Yeah.
They're 30 seconds of fame with the new team name.
Valtteri will post like a nude on Instagram or something. He's good. He's good for like 1 or 2 of those a year.
A nude?
No, he does.
We'll see his over under on number of times we see his butt cheeks.
Yeah. 3.
I think the line. I think
the line is 2.5. So it'll either be 3. Like the line's 2.5. I think
that's a good line.
Yeah, this guy.
I'm going over.
He'll like post like what,
he'll just post like his cheeks out at like he'll be like fishing and just have his cheeks out.
Artistically or like ironically, like
both.
To be funny.
I don't know if he's even trying to do it funnily. You know,
I
think he's just doing it like a serious like, hey, I'm from.
He's just like
from Finland, Sweden.
Dude, yeah, he's Nordic.
He's just like naked apparently. But it's just like really cold.
Yeah, he's just like a backwoods guy.
He's a cold naked man.
Like we weren't joking before when we were like the driver who's most fit for NASCAR is him. Valtteri
No,
Bottas.
you know what his deal is he saw Naked and Afraid and he's like, yeah, I can do that better.
Yeah, he's like, that is my life normally.
Why do they have a TV show about me?
That's true. Yeah, my people. Yeah, so that's probably the most we're going to talk about. Bottas and then Zhou Guanyu, same thing. Remarkably average. He's similar in my head to the Haas boys, where I have nothing like positive or negative to say about him.
Yeah.
He had that crazy crash 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was nuts.
I'm really glad he was okay, but that was really wild.
It was a big crash.
That's the most notable thing I can think of that he's had in 2 years.
Yeah.
So I would love to see him step it up. Okay, do you know how great it would be for F1 if a Chinese guy was like competing like for a driver's championship? And I don't think realistically he's going to be in this car and be like in competition to actually podium. But if he was like in the conversation of points, that would be huge for the sport.
For F1 as a whole.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
It's a massive market.
I mean, that's like the UFC talks about this a lot, where over the past handful of years, they've tried to really expand their global audience by like tapping into fighters from other countries, because think about how much viewership that brings to the sport.
Yeah.
I mean, so that would be great. I would love to see that. Last and potentially least, we have Williams.
Williams, surprisingly okay season.
You think Logan Sargent scores? Does he get a point?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
He gets a point.
Okay.
Logan Sargent, our American boy. Yeah, dude. He's gonna finish average of 10th this season.
Average of 10th?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Do you think? Okay. Do you think that Logan has more points or DNFs this season?
DNFs. I think he's gonna.
How's he gonna finish with an average of 10th and have more DNFs?
I'm thinking this through.
Okay, please.
He's gonna get a win.
He's gonna get a win,
and then he's gonna DNF the rest of the races, and it'll average out to 10.
Do you think there's any driver on the grid less likely to get a win than Logan Sargent?
Yeah, the whole entire Haas team.
Really?
And the Alpine team. Yeah, I think.
You think Pierre Gasly is less likely to get a win than Logan Sargent?
I think we're going to see Williams.
Yo, this guy's an American, dude. I think
we're going to see Williams do okay this year. I think we're going to see all Alpine suffer. The Steak team just flounder around like always. Yeah.
Who does Steak replace again? Remind me.
Alfa Romeo.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Williams is going to be like a surprisingly good year this year. Like, because they've been on the up and up, dude. You look at the history. Don't go back too far when they were winning championships, because from that they're down. But if you look back the last 5 years, they went from a team that literally was 19th and 20th to now a team that like pulls in a couple sneaky points here and there.
Didn't they get a win last year?
No.
Is Gasly
Gasly's with Alpine.
Yeah, no.
He didn't get a win.
Third, I think, didn't he? Or
yeah,
second
he had a podium.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. You seem shocked by that.
I am.
They have a Duracell battery on their car. They have to be fast.
They had one last year too.
Yeah.
Was it out? They took the old battery out of the remote and like shook it a little bit.
It's not a rechargeable battery, dude. You get one good race with a battery and that's it.
Logan Sargent or Lance Stroll, Who finishes the season with more points?
Unfortunately, Stroll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so you haven't totally lost your mind.
No.
Okay, we got there.
Also, the best part about this is too, like, we have no idea how the season's going to shake up. We know who's going to be
it
the
could
best.
be totally different.
But like,
yeah.
dude, Aston Martin last year was such a shock. I just want to see a shock team be good this year.
Yeah, it would be nice. I would love to just see competitive races. I just don't want to see Red Bull literally like dog walk everybody all year again.
Scale of 1 to 10, how good is the season going to be? 1 being the worst of all time, 10 being like when it was Hamilton Verstappen like going down to the last race.
Are we saying this relative to like all seasons that we've seen, or relative to last year?
Last season was like a 4.
Oh, okay. I would give it like a. Last year I would have said is. I was gonna say 5, just like a straight up neutral season, but there was some. I mean, okay. Here's the thing about last season. It definitely, from a viewership, like from an entertainment perspective, was not nearly as good as other years because of the level of dominance. But I do think it's a year that we'll reference back to very frequently because of the level of dominance. So it was one of those things where like...
It was a historic season.
Right. And F1 sucks when someone's too good.
Yep.
Unlike other sports where it's awesome to watch someone who's too good, F1 kind of sucks when someone's too good. But it's like an important season in like the canon of F1 history.
Yeah.
So I feel like with that alone, I'll give it a 5. I
okay.
think this season is going to be a 7.
Oh, I like it.
I think it's going to be.
I like it.
I think this season will be considerably improved, and I think a huge portion of that is the number of contracts that are due at the end of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
Like last year, when you have 10, or actually at the time it would have been 12 guys whose contracts had a full another year. Pressure's not on quite yet.
Yeah. True.
I mean, it's always on in F1 to some degree, but I think it's a whole nother level of on where it's not just, are they going to keep my current contract? It is,
am I racing again?
Right. I actually need to sign a new contract.
Yeah.
So like the opportunity to replace me is there. And I think that's going to draw out some moments.
I
for
hope,
sure.
dude. I hope we have a 7 out of 10. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take it. All right. Let's just touch on Bahrain real quick. First race of the season, always in Bahrain. Dude, I'm just pumped to see cars on the grid. That's all I'm excited for. And it's always just so fun because you never know what's going to happen. We saw McLaren last year with the absolute worst race of all time. And we saw Alonso out of nowhere with a surprise podium. So that's, dude, I'm just excited we got cars again. You know, that's like, I'm just so pumped to be waking up on a Sunday morning at 7 a.m. and being like, yeah, it's lights out and away we go.
Let's go.
Let's do this, dude.
Yeah,
you know?
I also don't have any like really screaming hot takes heading into the race. Also, it's, you know, the practice sessions start 13 hours from us recording this, and so the realistic scenario is that I'm not going to have this published in time for me to make for me to make a prediction, and for you're going to see the race probably before you hear this, or maybe right around the same time.
Maybe not.
No, it'll be earlier than that, but. I don't want to give
time.
you. I feel like there were a couple times last year where I gave you some predictions, and then you're listening to our show and
After
being
qualifying.
like, "Well, that's not relevant anymore."
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that. Listen,
We just need to make our content evergreen, so no matter what, it just always fits in.
yeah.
It's every single race. Like back in the day, this is how things were.
Yeah,
That was a really good race.
historical analysis.
How about
only.
the winner?
Yeah, right.
that guy that lost.
Insert name here. Yeah. All right. No. Yeah. I don't have any crazy hot takes. I'm super excited to be
Same.
back. We're gonna try to ramp it up this year. We're gonna, every episode a little bit improved on the last one. So that's our goal for us right now.
Yeah.
Let's get in touch on socials and let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. Let's
have
spice
a
it
good
up
time.
a little bit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard though to try to improve when we're already the best, but we do what we can.
I mean,
look at Max.
Look at Max.
Verstappen of a podcast.
Yeah, Max the podcast.
People have been
Could always
calling
be better.
us the Max Verstappen of F1 podcast
For a long time.
For the average American fan,
For a long time.
under
For a long time.
Yeah,
For
for
years.
yeah. So
Long time.
with that, love you guys. See ya.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed the effing podcast. Check out our socials for additional content, and we will see you out on the grid.